Welcome, everyone. This is the Masterclass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience, and I would like to help dispel your doubts, should you have any. Today, we look at the lesson Bholi, written by K.A. Abbas. K.A. Abbas, born in 1914, died in the year 1987, was a man who wore many hats. He was a film director, a screenwriter, a novelist, as well as a journalist. He has received the Padma Shri. He writes in Hindi, Urdu, and English. He consistently fights for social justice, women's rights, and the marginalized people of our society. He was associated with the Indian People's Theatre Association and the Progressive Writers Movement. His works often featured female characters who challenged socially accepted norms and conventions. He believed in education as a tool for empowerment and social transformation. All of us are lucky to have loving parents and families whom, of course, we love deeply as well. We are told about the story of Sulekha. This poor girl fell from her cot when she was 10 months old and hit her head. This, according to people around her, caused her to become a backward child. In fact, she only learned to speak when she was 5 years old. When she was 2, she was diagnosed with smallpox, a disease which she was lucky to escape from, but which scarred her body permanently with deep black marks. When she spoke, she stammered. This caused other children to make fun of her. As a result, this poor girl spoke less and less. Her father Ramlal was the village Nambardar, a person, the village headman, whose responsibility it is to collect taxes, keep records, and even solve small disputes among the villages. Ramlal had 7 children. 3 sons and 1 daughter. The sons were sent to school in the city, and as they grew up, they attended college. Of the 3 daughters, the eldest, Radha, had already been married. The second girl, Mangla, her marriage had been fixed as well. And Champa, the third, there was no doubt that she would also, in the fullness of time, get married. They were all good-looking, healthy girls, and Ramlal was worried about none of them, except for Bholi. According to the family, she had neither brains nor beauty. Who would want to marry her then? When Bholi was 7, Mangla was married. The very same year, a primary school was opened in the village. The Tehsildar Sahab came to perform the opening ceremony from the school, and he told the Nambardar, Ramlal, since you are the representative of this village, you must send your daughters to school. Ramlal discussed this with his wife, and she told him, are you crazy? If you do that, who will marry your daughters? Remember, this was at a time when education for girls was not considered to be a good thing. How could Ramlal disobey the Tehsildar? The wife came up with an idea. Send Bholi. It is going to be difficult to find someone for her to marry since she has no brains and she is so ugly looking. Let's see what the teachers in school can do about her. So Bholi was pulled out by Ramlal, who wanted to take her to school. Bholi was terrified. Just a few days ago, their cow Lakshmi had been taken out of the house and sold. Was her father throwing her out of her own house? She started crying. The man got worried. He realized that if he took his child like this, other people would look at him strangely. His wife dressed her up in an old frock that belonged to one of her sisters. It was a novelty for Bholi. Normally, she got all the clothes rejected by her sisters. She was washed, her hair was oiled, and off she went to school. Since all this took time, they were already late, the children were in their classrooms. The daughter was handed over to the principal. The school was a tiny one, several rooms where children sat on mats. The headmistress took Bholi and made her sit down in one of the classrooms. Bholi was 7. She had no idea what a school was, what happened there, but she was happy. At least girls of her own age were there. Maybe somebody would become a friend. The teacher was teaching, but Bholi could not follow her. She was given a book. She looked at the pictures that were on the wall, things that were familiar, the picture of a horse, a goat, a parrot. Then the teacher came up to Bholi and asked her name. Bholi began to stammer. All her insecurities came to the surface and she began to cry. The teacher said nothing, sat her down, went back. She felt that all the girls in the class were laughing at her. When the school bell rang for the break, everyone left the classroom, but Bholi was too scared to move. She was called over by the teacher and asked her name again. She hesitantly stammered out her name, but her teacher did not laugh. In fact, she encouraged her and she told her, don't feel scared of anything. Learn to speak and I promise you, you will be able to speak like everybody else. For Bholi, this was something that she had never thought about. The teacher told her, yes, it will happen, but you have to come to school every day. The child hesitantly stammered out a positive reply. In the book she was given pictures like the one in the walls. But in this book, every picture had a word underneath it. And the teacher told her, take the book. In a few days you will understand what these letters, what these words mean. Then when you're totally educated, people respect you for what you know. No one will laugh at you and you will be able to speak without stammering. Bholi felt so happy that somebody accepted her for who she was. The years passed. The village also grew. It had become a small town. The small school had become a high school. Now the town had a cinema. There was a mail train which began to stop. That night, Ramlal spoke to his wife that he just had a marriage proposal for Bholi. Bishambar, the grocer, had asked for the daughter's hand in marriage. He was an old man, 45, and he walked with a limp. And wasn't he married before? The father was hesitant to give Bholi's hand in marriage to him. The mother told him he is rich. Who else will want to marry such a girl? Say yes, and the best thing is he's not asking for any dowry. Perhaps if we say no to him, this girl of ours might remain unmarried. The father says, what will she think? She is just like a cow, which she will do exactly what we say. Bholi listened, quiet. The day of the wedding, Bishambar Nath came with a big party, a band riding on a horse. Ramlal was very happy. Such a lovely wedding. Her elder sisters, who had also come, were envious of Bholi's luck, getting such a rich man to marry her. The time came for the Varnmala, for the garlands to be exchanged. The priest asked Bishambar to garland the bride. He lifted up her veil, and when he did so, he stopped. He did not garland her. He had seen her face, and he told his friends, I will not marry this girl. Do you see how ugly she looks? And his friend said, look at you. You're not a young person. He says, fine. There's a problem in me also. But if I am going to marry her, I want a dowry of 5,000 rupees. So Ramlal was sent for and his demand was put. Ramlal was frantic. Was he to be insulted in front of the whole village? Won't you accept 2,000 rupees? No, said Bishambar. 5,000 or I leave right now. Ramlal opened the safe that he had with tears pouring down his face, counted out 5,000 rupees and gave it to Bishambar. Bishambar was happy. He had gambled. He wanted to marry this girl. But he had won. This time, when he got ready to garland her, the bride looked at him full in his face. Her eyes were not downcast. There was no anger in them, no hate, but contempt shone through. He raised the hand to put the garland around her, but she struck it from his hand and threw it into the fire. She called out to her father in a loud, clear voice. The father, the mother, the sisters, the brothers, the relations, everyone who knew her was startled to hear her speak without stammering. She told her father in no uncertain terms, take back this money of yours. I am not going to marry this man. Ramlal didn't know what to do. The guests began to whisper, look at this girl, ugly and so shameless. She is insulting her own family. She is destroying her own life. Ramlal said the same. Have you no regard for us? Bholi told him, because of the regard I have for you, because of the respect I hold you in, because I did not want your good name to be spoiled, I agreed to marry this man who is old, who is lame. But he is greedy, mean, and contemptible as well. I will not have such a man as my husband. An aunt sitting next to her said, this girl is shameless. And we all thought she was a harmless cow. And Bholi, instead of backing down, shouted at the aunt, of course you thought I was a cow. That is why you wanted to hand me over to this person who is so heartless. But now, the stammering person whom he made fun of is speaking. Do you want me to tell you of more? Bishambar Nath started to go back with his party. The bandsman thought the ceremony had ended and started up music. Ramlal didn't know what to do. His head was bent low under the weight of the grief and shame he felt. The flames of the sacred fire died down. Everyone had gone. Ramlal found his voice. What about you? Who will marry you now? What shall we do with you? And Sulekha answered, don't worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will look after you. And I will look after mother as well. I will also teach in the school. And then she addressed her teacher. Am I not right, ma'am? The teacher had stood quietly in the corner watching all the drama. But she was filled with a deep satisfaction. This girl, her student, had become a masterpiece. And she agreed with her totally. Yes, Bholi, of course. Who are the characters in the story then? Bholi, whose face was disfigured by smallpox when she was 2. She stammers. She is neglected at home, but is transformed through education. She rejects the exploitive marriage, chooses independence and teaching. Ramlal, who is a Nambardar, a prosperous farmer and a revenue official, has 7 children. Weak-willed, agrees to send Bholi to school, agrees to get her married to somebody unsuitable, pays a humiliating dowry. Ramlal's wife, practical and harsh, opposes girls' education, suggests sending Bholi to school. The teacher, kind, patient and encouraging, never laughs at Bholi's stammer, promises that education will earn her respect. Bishambar Nath, a well-to-do grocer, 45 years old, he limps. He is a widower. He has grown children from another village and demands dowry only when he sees Bholi's face. He is greedy and cruel. Bholi's sisters, Radha, Mangla and Champa, all good-looking, all healthy, the first 2 are married. They are envious of the grand wedding Bholi is having. Bholi's brother, 3 sons who are sent to the city for education, and who play no part in this chapter. The Tehsildar, the government official who is the catalyst for Bholi's education. The headmistress who receives Bholi on the first day. The time is mid-20th century India. It spans approximately 10 to 12 years from Bholi's childhood to young adulthood. The places mentioned: Ramla's prosperous household, where Bholi is neglected, the courtyard where she overhears her parents. The village, initially small, becomes a town with cinema, cotton mill, railway station. The primary school, which later on becomes the high school, where Bholi finds hope and transformation. The classroom, where the teacher first encourages Bholi. The pictures on the wall fascinate her. The wedding venue, where Bholi's transformation culminates in a rejection of Bishambar. What are the literary devices that are used by the author? There is situational irony. The simpleton becomes the wisest person in the story. Everyone assumes she's a dumb cow, but she proves more courageous than anyone. Her education, which was simply a way to get her off her parents' hands, empowers her to reject marriage. Symbolism. Bholi's stammer symbolizes society's sidelining of women. Her clear speech represents finding her voice and empowerment. The picture book represents the power of education. The garland thrown into the fire symbolizes rejection of exploitation. The veil thrown away symbolizes casting off of oppression. Foreshadowing, the teacher's promise. People will listen to you with respect. Her heart throbbing with a new hope and a new life. The teacher's deep satisfaction at the end was anticipated in her initial kindness. Contrast. Bholi at home, a rejected silent child, versus Bholi at school, encouraged, hopeful. In the beginning, stammering, frightened, versus at the end, where she is eloquent and confident in herself. The family's treatment versus the teacher's treatment. Bholi's sisters who were married for their looks versus Bholi who has become independent because of her education. Simile, she is like a dumb cow. Bholi's hand struck out like a streak of lightning. Metaphor, the teacher viewing Bholi as a masterpiece. Education as transformation. Imagery, trees blossomed into big red flowers. Flames of the sacred fire slowly died down. Weight of grief and shame. Characterization, direct, Bholi the simpleton. Indirect, actions reveal transformation through education. What are the themes that are explored in this story? Education as a means of empowerment, transforming Bholi from victim to a strong, independent woman. Breaking social conventions. Bholi rejects arranged marriage and the dowry system. Women's dignity and self-respect, choosing dignity over marriage security. Discrimination and neglect, treatment of disabled or disfigured girls in a patriarchal society. Finally, the power of encouragement. One kind teacher changes Bholi's whole life. That's the lesson there for you then. I do hope I have been of help. If I have, please remember to like, subscribe and share. Remember, there might be others who would be requiring our help. Thank you so much for watching.